Hey there, neighbors and naysayers. Clint Finney again, September 12th, 2023. I'm standing up here in the mistakes in the opportunities field for the year. I don't know whether any of you saw this last year, but this strip right here we planted with sorghum Sudan. Actually, we planted the whole place with it, but the whole field with it, but it's just that's where there was enough dirt indentation to grow sorghum Sudan. Mainly this strip right here was we got a bunch of rain all at one time, and this is the only place we could dump hay because we couldn't get in the field because it was too muddy. We had hay stacked up here in a tractor and we just dumped it over the fence for about a week, and so this right here was really covered in bales. What rolled, what didn't roll, and that's what we got. So it was really sparse sorghum Sudan the first grazing through. In fact, I skipped it once even, and then it really tillered. And as the last of the cows walk through here, it really tillered the second. This is now the second or third grazing. I think it's just the second grazing really. But if I come up here and show some of these stalks where they bit this off, it then created multiple stalks. I don't know whether the stalk died or whether it made more, but it all at once it shot up a bunch more sprouts. So that's how we get tonnage with sorghum Sudan, and as the cows just kind of disappear into it. And then what we don't have, this field that we were in yesterday, didn't have much sorghum Sudan. It had some, but you don't see it now because they ate it all. What's underneath is all red clover, and I don't know whether I talked about this before or not. It's got some ragweed in it. That's just part and parcel of what we do. If we'd got, well, we did graze this early and got a good grazing off the ragweed with the sheep, but now it's too over mature and the sheep won't eat it. We'll just have to come brush hog this. But yesterday, this was solid clover. Actually, there's some sorghum Sudan right there that they ate off. I got to put my boot on it to be able to see it. It was solid clover. And little mistake here. So this farm, this is my place, of course, has been frost seeded with clover multiple times, and with limited success. Sometimes we get some, sometimes we don't. This is now the second time we fed hay on this for a winter. First year we owned it, or second year we owned it. And so we beat the crap out of this winter, and the clover came. It just is one of those things that I say all the time. The seed in the seed bank, the bank is just like a bank account. You can go out and spread it, and it'll come eventually. When there becomes an opportunity for it to sprout, it'll sprout. It may not come that first time, but it'll come at some point. And I got it all at once because they grazed it. Now that's not a problem. That's okay. It'll fill in with fescue and the other things. Hopefully the other things I planted. But we just didn't get in here and get it planted early enough. It was too wet early, and then it was too dry late. Once we got it dried up enough that we could run a disc over it and disc it a little bit, it was too dry then to seed it until we got some rain. So we just didn't get the sorghum Sudan that we wanted. We didn't get the stand of much of anything we wanted other than the clover that was already in the ground. And we find that almost everywhere that we winter feed. That seed that we spread frost seed wise comes up then that next year, and that just tells me we're not grazing things hard enough in the winter to really get a true frost seeding to work. We need to graze stuff a little harder to be able to get it to actually work. Frost seeding is great. Everybody thinks it's wonderful. It's a free seeding, but it's not. I mean, I'd be better off to rent the drill and do it. That's what it's showing me. I'd be better off to rent the drill. By the time you add the extra 50% in seed cost, or seed that you have to put down to frost seed, you might as well pay for the drill rental and the diesel fuel to plant the field. But I just thought it would be a cool video to watch those cows kind of disappear into that sorghum Sudan. There's 27 pairs out here, and there for a minute they were all gone in that sorghum Sudan. The sheep will eat it. They just prefer to not be that close to the cows, so they go out and they pick at the little stuff that's out around on the edges. So I look at this every year and say, you know, there is an opening here for planting, or if you have the crop fields and you don't have an aversion to tillage or spray, there is a giant opportunity here if you can get it right to plant sorghum Sudan in the field, and then plant oats, rye, wheat, whatever for fall, winter, spring grazing, and then sorghum Sudan again. I mean, there is a gigantic opportunity there that we're probably missing. I got some stuff from Kevin the other day, a relative of his in Pennsylvania, that's growing black oats and sorghum Sudan and a couple other things in rotation. There is a giant opportunity there if we have the equipment to do it and want to do it, to really grow a lot of tonnage. I prefer perennial pasture, but it makes me think every year that I got this sorghum Sudan. Like last year, this field here was solid, good sorghum Sudan. Makes me think every year that, you know, there is an opportunity there, and maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe we ought to take some of those crop fields, and maybe that's something we're going to do here in the future, because we pretty much got this whole north side of the farm covered with hay feeding. We fed on almost everything for the winter, everything that we can feed on. There's some fields we can't feed on. And we did feed on them at one point when rolled hay on them, and we actually made things worse, not better. We bared too much of that steep soil, and it came back with small fly rows instead of forage. So we need to move to the south side, and the south side of the road is most of our what used to be crop fields. So at that point, we might be looking at something like that. We may be looking at what can we do to crop it. And the other thing about this is, if we would take a field kind of out of perennial rotation for a year and let it come back in the seeded fescue that's in the seed bank, we may end up getting rid of some of the fescue, which would be a nice thing to do. I mean, I like fescue for stockpiled grass, but we get to a point where we just have too much, and it's hard to get it diluted. So maybe that's the case, although at that point we would lose what frost seeded red clover we have in the year or two that we left that in, let's say, crop grazing production. We would lose that frost seeded clover seed we had in the seed bank. So it's a catch-22, what you really want to do. I think we could do it, and I think it would help, but we'd have to learn the system, and we could probably get twice the production out of an acre, but at times we wouldn't get anything out of it too, so it would put a harder stress on our other pastures. So it's just something to kick around. So another good day. It's a cloudy day. It rained this afternoon. A lot of people would be worried about turning them into clover as thick as this is and sorghum Sudan after it rained. I'm not in any concern about it at all. We hear cases of prussic acid poisoning in sorghum. I'm not worried about it. It's sorghum Sudan. It's not something that I even have to be concerned about. These cows aren't hungry when they go in. Yeah, they're attacking like they're starving, but they're just at it because it's so sugary. They're not all that hungry, so I just don't worry. And this field was so packed with clover, and this field I'm sure is too if we walk out there. Yeah, there's some people that would worry about bloat in it. I'm not concerned about it. Our cows are never hungry enough to worry about bloat. So with that, I'll say we'll see you next time.